In today's recap of Undercover Boss, we're bringing you two exciting episodes featuring the most generous bosses in Undercover Boss history.
I'm gonna do the same thing for your sister. I'm gonna give her 10 grand too.
We'll first start with the president of Dutch Bros Coffee, and then continue to the president of Phenix Salon Suites, as they find some of the best employees and reward them accordingly. In our first episode, this boss will reward an employee with a free franchise store.
I will own a Dutch Brothers. It'll be Jasmine's Dutch Brothers, which I'm really excited to say.
We first start with the founder and president of Dutch Bros Coffee, Travis.
I'm Travis Boersma, co-founder and president of Dutch Bros Coffee.
Headquartered in Oregon, Dutch Bros Coffee is America's largest privately held drive-thru coffee chain with 202 locations and 2,000 employees. Dutch Bros Coffee also has an annual revenue of $100 million. Dutch Bros are known for their high-energy, fast-paced service, and the company has a laid-back principle so employees are not even required to wear uniforms. The company also only allows employees to become franchise owners, so only people who understand the company and their value get to join it. Travis grew up in a dairy farm here in Oregon. The company was founded by him and his brother, who started it by selling coffee on moving carts. Their first day, the Dutch Bros made $65, and a year later, they opened their first drive-thru store. The company kept growing in the coming year, but tragedy struck as Travis's brother passed away a few years ago. It was a really hard time for Travis to lose his brother, but he still managed to properly run the business, and the company has now become very successful. Travis wants to go undercover because the company's growing really fast, and he wants to make sure that the values that he and his brother implemented are still being followed. He'll be going undercover as Sam, and his employees will be told that he's a contestant on a reality show, competing to win money to start his dream business. For his first job, he travels to El Salvador to work as a plantation worker. Dutch Bros get 25% of their coffee beans from this plantation, and Travis has never visited it before, so this is a good chance for him to see how everything is done. He meets with the plantation owner Ricardo, and he takes him to their coffee bean expert Alberto. Alberto doesn't speak English, so Ricardo will be interpreting for them.
Que cualquier cosa que tú necesites de él, que por favor le enseñes y que él lo va a hacer.
Okay,
¿Verdad?
De acuerdo. Porque lo veía.
Alberto first teaches him how to select and pick ripe coffee beans, and then leaves Travis to do the job, and Travis then tries his best, but Alberto was not impressed with him. They then move on to digging and planting a coffee seedling, and Travis was confident that he could do this since he grew up in a farm and has done this before, but since he has not done it for a long time, he gets tired easily and struggles to dig it. Alberto doesn't really like quitters though, so he makes Travis do the work until it was done.
Que camine, que ya nos vamos a ir.
On their break, Travis learns Alberto has never missed a day of work in his 22 years of working for the company, and he's a very dedicated hard worker who's passionate about his work.
Sin faltar un día. Me siento contento con mi trabajo y orgulloso del café que nosotros mismos producimos aquí.
And before he leaves, Travis decides to reveal his true identity to him and offers to pay for a family vacation, and then gives him $10,000 to help Alberto and his family. For his next job, Travis flies back to Oregon to work in the coffee roasting factory. But here, Travis knows that even with his disguise, people in there will be able to identify him easily, so he brings his franchise owner and close friend Abe to go undercover for him.
You're gonna be working with Will. I've known him forever, and he'd recognize me if I went in, bro.
Sure.
Get as much information as you can.
Travis will be watching everything from the outside, and he sends Abe to work with Will. Abe meets up with Will, and he teaches him how to properly roast coffee beans, and Abe then follows Will's instructions and does pretty well. On their break, Abe learns that Will has been having problems with his boss, who's treating employees really badly. Will was even close to quitting the company, but he loves his job, so he was trying to power through.
The exact day when he was put in charge back here, his head just blew up. He just got to this point where it's just super disrespectful. He kind of treated me like, a dog.
Travis was disappointed to hear that his employees are not treated well and plans to fix the situation. For his next job, Travis goes to Gilbert, Arizona to work with a manager. He meets up with Jasmine, and she first takes him outside to take orders from customers who were waiting in line and make their order just before they reach the window. This way, the line will go faster and customers are happy. They next work on the drive-thru window, and Jasmine starts a fun competition to keep her workers motivated, which Travis appreciates.
She's super creative. She taught me the runner system that they use. She's got a lot of touch, and I admire that immensely.
For his last job, he travels to Nampa, Idaho to work as a barista. He meets up with Bensa, and she teaches him how to make coffee.
You can get them iced, hot, or blended. Either way, throw on the whipped cream. So good.
While working with her, Travis sees Bensa's great with her employees and customers, which is why her store is one of the most successful within the company. He sees that she has loyal customers and even brings her homemade food when they come to take their order.
One lady brought in a cobbler. Are you kidding me? It's more than coffee. They're here for the people.
And other employees also love her, and they work hard to make the store successful. Travis's undercover time finally comes to an end, and he invites his employees to reveal his true identity. So hey guys, if you're loving this episode, just wait for the next boss who'll give away a brand new house worth $250,000. But for now, let's go back to the episode at hand. First, to find out Travis's true identity was Jasmine, and he tells her that she was an amazing employee, fit to represent the brand, and gives her $50,000 so she can open her own franchise.
I don't even know what to think right now. I will own a Dutch Brothers. It'll be Jasmine's Dutch Brothers, which I'm really excited to say.
Next in was Bensa, and he tells her that she reminds him of her brother, and then gives her $10,000 to help her and her family.
There's one more thing. I want to give you $10,000 on top of that, but the $10,000 is for you.
Last in was Will, and he tells him that he'll be fixing the management problem, and then gives him $10,000 just for him, and another $10,000 to support his family.
I mean, I'm still in shock, but I feel like it is the beginning of a new chapter. And still, everything pays off if you work hard enough for it.
Let us now follow our next boss, the founder and president of Phenix Salon Suites, Gina Rivera.
My name is Gina Rivera, and I am co-founder and president of Phenix Salon Suites.
Headquartered in Colorado, Phenix Salon Suites is one of the fastest growing franchises in America. This unique business has more than 50 locations and 1,700 salon professionals and generates $25 million a year in revenue. Phenix has a unique business style, and they first get a location and fill it with all the necessary salon equipment, but they don't hire any employees, rather qualified salon professionals rent out the place for them, and this is how they make their money. Gina and her husband Jason started the business together. Gina was a stylist for 25 years, and then Jason got her the opportunity to buy her own salon, and Gina always wanted her own business, so she jumped on the opportunity, and it's now grown to this size. Phenix is projected to reach 100 locations by the end of the year, which is a big task to accomplish, and this is why she wants to go undercover. She wants to figure out what they're good at and what they're lacking, so she can fix it before the problem becomes too big. She'll be going undercover as Ashley, and her employees will be told that she's a contestant competing to win a spot in the franchise. For her first job, Gina travels to Boca Raton, Florida to work as a barber.
Today I'm in Boca Raton, Florida, and I will be working as a barber.
She meets up with Michelle, and she first shows her how to keep straight while cutting hair. Gina has never done a barber's job before, but she has a lot of experience with perfectly styling hair, so she's confident that she can pull it off. Gina takes over and starts cutting, but she messes up when she gets to the sides. Michelle then holds her hand and makes her do it perfectly, and then the customer leaves mostly satisfied. The next customer was there to get his beard shaved, and this stresses Gina, as she will be using a razor to cut his hair, and she can't mess up even a little bit, or she might cut the customer. Michelle first shows her how to do it, and then gives her clean instructions, and warns her repeatedly not to make a mistake, which makes Gina even more nervous.
Oh my gosh, my stress level is through the roof right now. I think my blood pressure has gone up by 200 points.
It was Gina's turn, and to everyone's surprise, she does pretty well and even impresses Michelle. On their break, Gina learns that Michelle is a single mom of 4, and one of her sons has a serious medical condition.
Like, oh, you're going to be completely blind and in a wheelchair by the time you're 21. So he struggles with that thought process every day, and
That
especially when it's so hard for you.
Michelle also works really hard to be able to raise her children, but that means she doesn't get to spend that much time with them. For her next job, Michelle travels to Las Vegas, Nevada to work as a nail technician.
I am in Las Vegas, Nevada. I will be a nail tech today.
She meets up with G, and they greet their first customer who's looking to get their toes done. This really freaks out Gina, as she doesn't like touching other people's feet.
All I kept thinking is, where have these feet been today?
But she had to do it because that was the job, so she watches G do it first, and then she was left alone to do it herself. All things considered, Gina does okay, and G instructs her on the little things that she messed up. They later go to lunch, and Gina learns that the owner of that specific building has not been attentive to the building, which is why 70% of the building is getting filled with professionals. Gina is paying rent for the full building, and if it doesn't get fully occupied, then they will have to leave the building. For her next job, she travels to Maryland to work as a cosmetologist.
Today, I am outside of Baltimore in Catonsville, Maryland, and I will be working with a cosmetologist.
She meets up with Felicia, and she tells her that they'll be working on installing a wig today. Gina was a little nervous since she's in an African-American neighborhood, and she's not familiar with that type of hair, so she was scared to mess things up. Felicia first shows her how to do it, and then Gina takes over, and she follows the instructions well, but she was still nervous, so she goes slowly, and while working, Gina hears loud noises coming from the neighboring salon. Felicia tells her that this always happens since the walls are so thin.
She can hear this conversation and feel like she's in the room with me. If the door's even shut? If the door's even shut, you can hear straight through the wall. There's nothing inside of the walls.
And then Gina thinks of installing soundproofing materials. Felicia then gives Gina a 60-second challenge to finish one thread, and Gina tries her best to do it, but when she tries to go fast, she messes up so hard, and Felicia gives her a performance rating of 4 out of 10.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I would evaluate Ashley's performance at a 4.
On their break, Gina asks her what advice she would give if she was going to open her own salon, and Felicia tells her communication is terrible within the company. Felicia explains by saying that there was only one dryer when there should have been 2, but it was hard for her to get in contact with management to fix the issue, so she's bought the second dryer with her own money. Gina takes pride in being a very reachable boss, so this was very disappointing to hear, and she plans to fix the issue. For her last job, she travels to Long Beach, California to work as a stylist.
I am in Long Beach, California, and I will be working with a hairstylist today.
She meets up with Richie, and this is a job that she's experienced with, so she's more than confident. Richie first shows her how to do a curl, and Gina does pretty well. They then move on to coloring, and Richie in detail shows her how to do that perfectly as well. And here we see that Richie's very good at his job, and Gina even learns new skills from him. On their break, Gina learns that Richie has a daughter and was born 15 weeks early, so it's been very hard to keep her alive and get her to good health. Richie had to sell his home and his car to be able to afford all the necessary surgeries and other medical interventions that his daughter required.
Richie has been through a lot, and I just was so impressed by, his positive attitude.
After work, Richie takes Gina to a homeless shelter that he volunteers in, and Gina gets emotional seeing him help other people. And finally, Gina's undercover time comes to an end, and she invites her employees to reveal her true identity. First in was Michelle, and she commends her for being a strong single mom, and she then gives her $10,000 to support her family. She then offers to pay her rent for a year and offers her a paid family vacation.
It doesn't happen. This does not happen. It's finally paid off. I can't believe it.
Next in was G, and she tells her that she's working on a new advertising way so they can get the building filled up, and then gives her $5,000 to buy supplies for her shop, and also offers to pay for her family vacation. And she then goes on to give her $40,000 for her daughter's college tuition.
Being able to send my daughter to school without a bunch of student loans, this is going to help so much.
Next in was Felicia, and she tells her she'll be paying her for the second dryer, and she also tells her that she'll be soundproofing her shop, and then offers to bring her to headquarters so she can help develop their African American hairlines, and she'll get a percentage from every sale. She then gives her $10,000 and offers to pay for her children's school payments for the next 2 years.
All my prayers have been answered. My grandmother would be very, 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 very proud of me. Very proud of me.
Last in was Richie, and she tells him that she loved his work, and she then gives him $5,000 so he can throw a fundraiser for his daughter's medical bills, and she also gives him a brand new car, and on top of that, she gives him a brand new home that's worth $250,000.
We're gonna be able to dream instead of just survive. We're gonna get to thrive.
And with that, today's exciting episode of Undercover Boss comes to an end.